Seva. Part A, how good?
Yeah, part A was awesome. Looking forward to part B.
Mate, the stories, that's what we wanted to tell, the football stories. Yeah, those old school days that Birch was a pioneer, yeah?
Yeah, exactly right. And nostalgia seems to be hitting everyone exactly where it should be, eh? And that's the reason why we started the podcast.
Now, this podcast is brought to you by Ignify Legal. Buying or selling property and needing expert legal advice, contact Ian and the team on 8823 3309. We can't thank Ian and the team at Ignify Legal enough, so thanks. And Andy Bernal, welcome back, mate. Thanks for hanging around, and we're going to get stuck into part B.
Still here. Enjoyed that first. Enjoyed the first half.
And look, we want it's great. The people wanted to hear the Andy Bernal story, mate, and we hope you enjoyed that first part.
I thought it was great. There's always things that you kind of maybe listen back to, later on and think you could have said more or whatever. But I think, we've really we captured a lot of stuff there that. People that'll grab the book will kind of, be even, we'll get some more information, but they've got a little kind of foundation, a little platform to build on now. But it's, some amazing times.
How good. Now, your illustrious football career then turns post-career into agent to the stars. And stars like David Beckham, Tim Cahill, Tommy Rogic, Carl Valeri, and the one and only Daniel Severino as part of your camp. Not sure who's bigger.
That's a stitch up.
So there's that many questions we could start with, but talk us through how you landed that role, I guess, and that sentence I just use, agent to the stars.
Look, I think I was coming to the end of my career at Reading. I'd played there close to 7 seasons, over 200 games, and a wonderful time. But it was time to move on. I perhaps probably hadn't planned as well for the end day, and by chance, I was having a chat with one of the ladies that was a sponsor at Reading Football Club, and she was the head of Foster's and Courage, a big brewing company in the UK. And she said she was good friends with a guy called Tony Stevens, who was David Beckham's agent, and also managed David Platt, and he had Michael Owen, Stephen Gerrard. There was a good client, a good roster. And she said, you'd probably make a good agent, spruce up, put the suit on, nice tie, walk into Mayfair, and she probably had me at that. And she had me at that, and I said, well, let's give this a go. So she said, look, I'll organise a meeting with Tony's very, very busy man, and if you get 5 minutes, you'll have done really, really well. I'll cut out a bit of the story, but an hour and a half later, I rang her up and I said, I think I've done really, really well. And
still in there?
Yeah, still in there. But it was one of those scenarios where the power of the big football world and the sporting world really kind of hit home immediately. I got out of the London cab and in Grosvenor Street, Mayfair. For those that play Monopoly, just check out Mayfair and Park Lane. Yep, the blue ones.
The blue ones. $400.
Yeah, those ones. Yeah.
They're the expensive ones, right?
That's the ones. Yeah. So I got out of the cab there, and you go into this flashy kind of Mayfair, building, and immediately the names hit you. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, David Beckham. And David at the time was arguably or possibly the greatest superstar on the planet, married to a Spice Girl.
Yeah.
That was kind of...
Big deal.
The fact that they were together at that particular point in time was big.
It's creating their own brand.
Yeah, so, you walked in there and everything was, it was top level, top notch. But I felt comfortable. I didn't feel like I didn't belong in there. It's for some reason I felt really comfortable in there. I knew that I could, in terms of finding players, that I had an ability to and a good eye to see a player early, to kind of see things in a player that, and if you're starting out in the agent game, that's a good quality to have because, you need, especially when you're coming back to Australia, you get taken on by a global company and they say, go out and find players in Australia, yeah? Go out and find us a next superstar. It's easy if you're in Brazil. It's easy if you're in England. There's like a multitude of...
There's lots of players there.
Yeah, Go find me a kid that's an ex-Beckham or an ex, for our company.
In Australia?
Yeah, an Australian kid. It was hard to find one in Australia. I found an Australian one and, I got given about the kind of... The test as such was you got 3 months to find the next superstar out of Australia. So 24 hours later, I took Tim Cahill and Lucas Neal to the office in Mayfair.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. And Timmy ended up signing and Lucas didn't. We spoke, we were friends. He had management at the time and he thought, it wasn't for him.
Yep.
But not even an issue, But they were surprised. I rocked in with 2 Aussies the next day, and Timmy was the one they wanted. He was, killing the lower divisions of English football. He's a proper warrior.
Yeah.
He's got everything to. He had the whole lot, that whole package, and they were really, really chasing him. They couldn't get him. They could not get him, and. I got him
good.
for SFX.
Yeah.
And, the rest is history. He was playing for Samoa at the time or had played for Samoa. So
yep.
Part of it was kind of fixing that with FIFA.
Yeah.
And the other part was getting him to the attention of the national coach, Frank Farina, who was a teammate of mine at the AOS. And, I called Frank and it's in the book. But I said to Frank... if you were going to war, would you take me? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, if I was going to war, I'd take Tim Cahill. And a few weeks later, Tim made his Socceroo debut at Loftus Road v South Africa.
How good's that?
So when you talk about Agent to the Stars and we talk about all that, you were able to leverage a lot of relationships then that you'd built up from AIS days and football throughout Spain, England and those sort of things, yeah?
Yeah, I think it's one quality that I kind of have or comes natural, whether I'm in a ghetto somewhere or whether I'm in a high-powered boardroom somewhere, I kind of have the ability to mix in with everybody and not be better or lesser than anybody. It's just something that I probably got off Dad and Mum, and I'm good with people.
Yep.
And it just kind of comes natural. So I've always been able to. I like to find out about people. I like to study. I like to understand them. I like to have a chat with the guy picking up the garbage outside here tonight. What's he about?
Yeah.
What's he going through? Good life, bad life. Just it's important to me. I like hearing human stories, and all those things come together so that when you do have to represent big stars or you're placed in situations. You're kind of comfortable in it. For me now, if you said, we've got to go do a deal with the New York Yankees for an Aussie baseball or something, it's like, no drama. I was in with Madrid doing a deal with Beckham when he signed.
Yeah.
So it's it kind of becomes comfortable. It's the same thing as doing a deal that the Panthers or the Roosters. It's just different noughts and different decimal points.
Yeah. And you tell that story, like you said, you like to get to know everyone. You tell the story about how he turned up at your parents' house and stuff like that.
Yeah. That was a funny one actually, because he rocks up and then he's like, oh shit, I think I've left my wallet or my phone somewhere at the 7-Eleven or something.
Yeah.
And in the car, off he goes. I'm thinking, fuck, man, this guy's not going to come back. Something's happened here.
He's looked at me and gone, no good.
Came back, and then what he said was, I remember we were sitting there talking for about an hour or so. He goes, look, this is what you're going to do. This is where you're going to go, blah, blah. And one thing he said to me, which I tell everyone, he goes, you never know. My brothers actually say it to me to this day. They actually go, hey, do you remember the time Birch came over and he said this? And this is what he said. He goes, the beauty about England is, he goes, this time next year you could be playing against Manchester United in the FA Cup final. And a year later, who played in the FA Cup final against Manchester?
Yeah, Millwall played it, yeah.
Millwall.
And it was said kind of, not even in jest, it was said kind of like, that's the madness of the game.
Just because you had lived and played it.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's things happen. I remember you said to me as well, England happens so fast.
Yeah,
it's just...
Football happens so fast. I'm working at Wallara Council as a ranger, first 3 months / dog catcher. I'm chasing people off at Watson. I'm chasing 101 Dalmatians at Watson's Bay. Seriously, like, I'm the worst dog catcher in the history of Wallara Council, apparently. And at 28, Mick Hickman comes back. He's assistant coach at Reading, and he says, we'd like you to come and play for us at Reading. At 28. At 28. Who does that at 28?
Yeah.
Like, clubs don't seek players at 28, and people that play at this level in the A-League or NSL at 28, they're just not good enough to go and play. But it was, I was able to, because I'd been there before, and I kind of knew the adjustments to make.
Yeah.
That was, but it's...
And offer the advice to those of who you were looking after, right? Because you knew you'd done it.
Oh, well, it's important to... there's levels in the game, and, everybody... what I try and be is as honest. I've been through the whole initial stages with SFX where you'd come out to Australia and, Bernie Mandich was around looking after Kuhl.
Yep.
So there's a competition between 2 or 3 agents, and it was almost a one-upmanship all the time. Like, if Bernie come round, you'd go around to someone's house and they'd say, oh, Bernie was just round here and he can take us to Liverpool. So, I go, well, I can take you to Real Madrid. And I'm just over that shit. Like, you know what? It's black or white. I've seen you play. I think you can get to this level, but you've got to do this, this and that. Some people don't like it.
Yeah.
Some people don't like hearing the truth. Some people live in a delusional, if
Someone told me this, I can do it.
Yeah. I can play for Manchester United. No, you can't. You can't play for Central Coast Mariners. How are you going to play for how you going to play for Man United? Do you know what I mean? It's
I get it.
And the parents, more so the parents.
That's what
little Johnny, I get parents coming up and go, look, you've got to come and watch my son play. He plays like Iniesta. He looks like him too. I go and watch him play and I'm like, I leave after 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like,
he might look like him, but he doesn't play like him.
Oh, mate, just shocking. It's the whole delusion thing, and it's something that, when I kind of at 15, 16, 17 used to sit at school and think, I want to play at the Bernabeu Stadium. I want to play at the Nou Camp. I want to play against Valencia in a full house at Valencia. Like, do you know, I could smell the place. I could smell the grass. I could see it. I could see it. And teachers and all the normal crap.
Yeah. What are you staring out the window for?
Yeah. But I honestly,
yeah.
And that's what I try and instill in the young kids these days. Like, if you can't smell that shit, if you can't kind of breathe it, you have to breathe it. You have to, So yeah, that's it. So that's what I try and instill in young kids now.
So take us obviously SFX Sports Management and Beckham himself.
Yeah.
It's all in the book and everyone can read it. But give us a little insight into day to day with Beckham and basically his right hand man. Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
We'd met in the office many times previously when he was playing for Manchester United. And obviously, Tony Stevens, his agent, part of the recruitment of myself was the fact that I could speak Spanish and speak a fair bit of Italian as well. So, we ended up placing people like Robbie Keane at Inter Milan.
Okay.
I was able to take Carl Valeri, who had a good soccer career, to Inter Milan. He signed at Inter as well.
Yep.
So part of my role was developing relationships with Italian clubs, with Spanish clubs, and before we even went to Madrid, I'd spent, the previous year talking to Spanish clubs, going around all of Italy and Spain, building those relationships. And, I met with Valdano and Butragueño, two legends that were joint directors of football a year before.
Really?
Before Beckham went to Real Madrid. And this is unknown to anybody.
Wow.
I met with them at the Bernal, and I gave them three names. One was David Beckham, one was Michael Owen, and the other one was Jonathan Woodgate. And the three of them ended up signing for Real Madrid.
Wow.
Jonathan Woodgate had, his career was cut short through injury, but he was quality as a young man at Leeds United. And Owen was, look, I can't knock Michael Owen. He's a fantastic striker, Liverpool, brilliant striker. Probably not a Galactico type that Spanish crowds and Real Madrid would,
thrive on.
They want the Maradona, the Ronaldo, Nazario types. And Owen, whilst being a world-class finisher and striker, probably didn't bring that kind of skill.
That continental type
player. And it's not been disrespectful to Michael Owen because this guy had speed and finishing ability and a wonderful striker.
Yeah.
But when you're talking, the Maradonas, Ronaldo, Nazarios, this and that, like it's just that little bit of extra kind of
a difference.
Yeah, something that kind of like a bit of magic, on top of the greatness.
Yeah, on top of exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
So that's a massive thing, Beckham leaving United.
Yeah, and it all kind of happened around the boot incident, when kicked the boot and this and that. And I go into it more in detail in the book, but it was at a time where there was a meeting I had at Barcelona with Carlos Rexach, who was the director of football at the time. And from that meeting, David hadn't signed for Real Madrid yet. And after my meeting, they agreed, I think it was 35 million euros transfer fee, Barcelona and Manchester United. But obviously, it never happened because you need the player to want to go there as well.
Of course.
Yeah. And David was always going to Real Madrid.
Was he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you go to Barcelona, and even if you know that to a certain extent, you say to them, no deal's been done. It just creates greater leverage.
Yeah.
You've got.
There's the agent, right?
Yeah, you've got the two greatest football clubs on the planet,
or at least the two biggest.
A
fallback, right?
Yeah. So that was that was a good day too. I took Daryl Mather, one of Australia's leading rugby league agents, with me that day to Barcelona. He looks after Cleary, the dad and the son, and has looked after many of the fine rugby league players of this country. And he was sat in there. Oh, mate, he was thinking like, geez, these figures is kind of like...
that's all points in the wrong spot.
It was like, it's the whole NRL salary cap, like,
in one player.
Oh, wow.
So that was a good day. So that's kind of... There was a few things that happened that I explained more in detail in the book of how that transfer kind of eventuated. But as it happened, Daryl and I left Barcelona that day. We continued our tour of Spain, and then we came back to Australia, and a month later I kind of knew I was going to be getting a phone call because it had already been discussed if David went to Spain at some stage that I would be his right-hand man.
Wow.
Yeah, I'd played with some ex-teammates of his. We had spoken. We'd met at some marketing events in the UK, some Pepsi events where Dwight York was at as well, and David's wife Victoria was there also. And I was one of the boys. I was allowed.
So we're talking right-hand man as in literally next, looking after him day to day.
You couldn't get to him without going through me.
Yeah.
So that entailed... around us, we always had SAS commandos. In Spain, we also added ex-Cuban intelligence officers. So you're talking... the Spain thing was insanity.
But that's Beckham himself, right? He was that big at the time, yeah?
Yeah. Well, he was that big that Real Madrid couldn't cope to a certain extent with. As soon as the plane landed... the day he arrived to sign his contract, we're waiting. I'm on the tarmac waiting for a private jet. They land. As soon as we leave the military Air Force base, we're onto the main kind of outside kind of highway that leads into Madrid. From that moment on, you've seen nothing like it.
Really?
Paparazzi, like hundreds of them on motorbikes, 150 k's, 200 k's an hour. One of them riding facing forwards, the other one with the camera facing backwards, trying to get shots in the car. Helicopters above the car from every station, CNN, everything. Yep, and then you've got a military helicopter coming in, you've got the police helicopter, they're all fighting each other to try and see Beckham.
Wow, really?
It's every day. Every single day that I was with him was a military operation. So you'd go and check the cars in the morning for bombs. You'd be getting updates from English spy agencies about kidnap threats on the boys. Insanity.
You're kidding.
And I was trained for none of this, but got given the keys for it.
And just do what you do.
Andy, you're in charge, mate. And the madness is, so the English guys, the commandos, as highly skilled as they were in everything, they needed me because they couldn't speak Spanish. And then we brought brought the Cubans in, and they couldn't speak English, so they couldn't communicate.
And you're in the middle.
And I'm in the middle. They needed me for everything. And then Ronaldo Nazario's going, come to a party, brother.
And you don't know what to do. I'm sitting here with the helicopter.
I've got 3 busloads of chicks coming, 3 busloads of Victoria's Secret models on the way.
You're trying to stay down with
How was Bex through all this? Because was it like...
You know what? He there was a couple of times he found it frustrating. I don't think he initially thought would be as bad. He's being followed all the time. It's happened. But I think what makes it kind of this whole story as well. It was just at a particular point in time, in life, in history, where Real Madrid had amassed 5 of the greatest players that have ever lived, Galacticos. David was England captain. He was the English superstar, married to the Spice Girl. Going into a team that had Zidane, Ronaldo Nazario, Carlos, Figo, world footballers.
Raul.
Roberto
Carlos.
Yeah, just the greatest setup.
So were you at training with all them, watching training?
Yeah,
that would have been unreal.
Well, that's a great question you've come up with. It's and I mentioned that in the book. It was the madness that we had outside of the training ground and outside of the hotel. I kind of found my peace. I'd sit there with a little
Sitting in the grandstand.
Brooklyn's 21 now, and but he was 2 or 3 at the time, and I'd sit. Not on the grandstand, I'd sit right next to on the training pitch.
Wow.
Kiroj is giving the team talk, and me and the kid are like 20 metres away.
Wow.
Yeah. We were kicking a ball around once after a car chase, and I won't go on about the car chase.
Yeah, you leave that.
But after the car chase, the kid was emotionally moved. It was a real bad
horrific.
Day. Yeah, it was horrific. It was like, I tell you now, there were times where I thought I would die in a car crash with David Beckham as Princess Diana.
Wow.
Died. Yeah.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and I say that honestly, I do not lie about that. It's the insanity. It was after the first day.
It never let up.
Never let up.
Never let up.
So after one of these famous car chases, and you're going in high-powered vehicles.
Yeah.
It's Porsches and Ferraris and it's like
that are moving. They're not going slow.
And you're trying to lose 50, 60, 100 paparazzi. You lose 10, it's like Fortnite. More come.
It's slowing down.
It's like these games.
Either.
No. So it's all out. It's all out war. You lose 3, another 3 come. So we got to training and they're doing set pieces, Real Madrid. And me and the little kid are behind the goal. And Figo, Ronaldo, Roberto Carlos, Beckham, they're all doing set pieces, corners, this and that. And Kiroj is giving instructions. And I don't know if it was me or the kid. We were kicking a ball around. We miscued it and it ends up in the middle of it's bouncing. It's bouncing. We're 30 yards away and this ball bounces into Carlos Kiroj giving his team talk. Yeah, and as it's bounced the second, third time, Roberto Carlos has pinged it on the bounce to me, swerved around Queiroz and hit me directly on the chest. And like everyone's gone, no. You know, like the goal against France. Yeah.
Really?
It's gone boom, boom, and he's gone ping. And the ball's gone past Queiroz and hit me, gone boom, and he's gone.
You just
Yeah, and it just diffused the whole situation.
Really?
Queiroz is gone.
Wow, forget it.
Yeah, like,
it's just about to crack out.
yeah. What do you say? You know, and you tell someone at a bar in Canberra 20 years later, they think you're mad.
It happens.
Yeah.
But you're talking world class.
Yeah. This was like, you know, and I'd watch them. I'd sit there and watch. You know, I could. If you said to me, Figo, Zidane, Roberto Carlos, Beckham, 4 wonderful free kick experts.
Yeah,
yes?
pick your best one.
Yeah, well, I could analyse. I could give you an analytical report of the movement of the hip, the knee, the standing foot, where it ends, where it doesn't end. Wow. And you'll find something that Beckham does different to the others.
So was Beckham in that group still the best free kick taker?
For me, the greatest. For me, the greatest dead ball exponent.
Yeah.
And at the right moments, you step up against Greece.
Yeah, that's still the best.
30 seconds to go.
That's still
30 seconds to go from 30 yards or something, and you put it in the top corner. A nation expecting.
Yeah.
You know,
and expecting, like he had to do it, mate.
A nation expecting.
Yeah.
There is no room for error.
If he didn't score that one.
Yeah.
Someone would have found him.
Yeah, you know, just, at the right time. But, you know, I would watch them train, and I took the St George Rugby League team. They came over for a study. Barnhill, Brown, McGregor, all those boys.
Yeah.
And Ronnie goes, don't worry about studying. He goes, I take you to nightclub tonight. Yeah. So,
Ronaldo did.
Yeah, Ronaldo Nazario. So the boys roll up. A nightclub, and it's like, you know, an hour cube, top nightclub in Spain, like 5-6 floors, and they all get there, you know, the Aussie boys are rolled up.
Think of it.
Oh, mate. And they all get like a little tag, and Ronaldo sorted out, and
skip the queue.
Yeah, they're going, the boys are going, oh, what's this? And I go, free drinks all night. And they go, oh, yeah.
Oh, they would have destroyed that, didn't they? Can't take the Aussie out of Australia, can you?
But, 7 in the morning, who's the last man standing? Ronaldo Nazario. You know, and he just, the boys were in awe of him. They were going like, man, this guy could, imagine him in the centre state of origin. Oh, man, like just, and you looked at Roberto Carlos, and I looked at these guys at training, just, you know, physiologically like world-class athletes. And Ronaldo was like a 100-metre sprinter. You know, if he doesn't have his knee injuries, he's now in the top 3 for me of all time with knee injuries. Yeah. Without knee injuries, oh my God! And you know, party central. You know,
was he?
Bus loads, like, you know, but not like. I've got some friends coming. It's like, Andy, I've got 3 buses of models from coming. Like, don't go. Where are you going? There's another bus coming. Yeah, I'm flying people in. I'm doing this. I'm like madness, and I'm talking like. You know, not B grade and C grade. Like this is
top notch.
Yeah, like the insanity of it.
So, Birch, how do you switch off? Like you've just given us a whole day-to-day intense. What happens when you put your head on the pillow?
Very difficult. When I was with David,
it's nearly a 24-hour job. Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. Those first 3-4 months, and that's when it kind of ended. So the first 3-4 months of his introduction, the previous year and the first 3-4 months was the time I was with him by his side, which were the most important ones because you're going to a new club, you're going to a new dressing room. They don't speak English. You know, so Zidane.
So they needed you.
Oh, Ronaldo and Roberto Carlos were on to me all day, texting. Like, I was going nuts.
A piece of Bex
yeah, everyone wanted a piece of Bex.
He was a rock star. It was like the Beatles had come to town. Eh?
So, you know what? I hardly slept. I really hardly slept. But it was so, after football, I went through a period where, I got into, you get into addiction. You start taking things that I'm not proud of, but it happened, but I'm proud that I don't anymore. So you get into addictive behaviours, but that was the one time in my life, along with football, where I didn't need anything. I was just pumped. I was just, man, as soon as I woke up, I'm talking to the SAS commandos, and they're saying to me, Andy, careful today, do not deviate. People die in this business. A year later, Merrick's dead in Baghdad, blown up. Our head security guard, blown up in Baghdad.
Wow.
After telling me, be careful, man, do not deviate from what I tell you.
Looking back, you probably had, they say the Australian cricket captain is probably the most toughest job in Australia.
Yeah,
but you had
that was...
Come on.
Yeah, that was tough because, and I just... you're not trained for all these things.
You're just a football agent, right?
Yeah, you're a football agent, and then Stevens does the deal. I'm at the Bernal. Everybody does. They go home. They go back to London.
Yeah, and you're still there side by side.
Yeah. What do we do with these 1,000 paparazzi chasing us? They camp out the hotel. They start infiltrating the hotel. They become chefs. They become this. They become that.
Do they really?
Oh, everything.
It's a long process.
We could be in Madrid, where if we're sat with David back in the day, we'd be at lunch somewhere, and he'd say something like 7 floors up, 150 metres away, there's someone with a lens. And I'd look and he'd go, next day, Hello Magazine Madrid, Hello Magazine Europe. That guy with the lens, picture of us eating where he was saying that been taken from. So it's just the chatter amongst the paparazzi is they want the kill shots, the dead shots. So you get a car crash.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's what they want.
And that's cash,
that's
right?
The shot. The last shot of Diana. The death shot, bleeding. They're the shots. Because I could hear it in Spanish, the chit-chat. Like the commandos, what are they saying? You don't want to know.
Yeah, I'm not actually, I can't tell you that.
That's their world, right?
Yeah. They're looking for, and they create havoc. They create havoc because they want... I had a car crash with Victoria Beckham's sister in it, caused by paparazzi. And, it was a moment in the book where, we were pulled to safety in the end by commandos, But, it was, so... traumatic things happen, but for me, look, it was very exciting.
100%.
I wouldn't change. I wouldn't swap it. It's like to be in that position has allowed me to write this in a beautiful way. Like no one's really ridden shotgun with DB like that. So it's I wouldn't change it for the world, but I think it would wear you out after a while. Like just especially
the intent day to day.
Yeah, and it was a time where. There was more to it. Victoria's, management, Simon Fuller that looked after the Spice Girls was trying to take David away from SFX, and so there was a lot of kind of political stuff in the background. There was a lot of it was a tough time, but it was a beautiful time. It was he'd go off somewhere, and wherever he went, I was there. So you'd be there with Zidane, with Carlos, and the great thing was, and something that I'm very kind of grateful to them for, but also kind of I feel I earned it, was they didn't see me as an agent. They saw me as David's friend, as a mate that had his back, and that they allowed into their circle also, because they don't allow everybody in those circles. It's. But I will tell you one thing. At a lunch one day, and you'll like it on a football level, I asked all the Galacticos who they considered the main one, the man. And all, to a T, pointed to Zidane.
Really?
Yeah. They all went him.
Really? Yeah?
Wow.
So Bex, Carlos,
Ronaldo,
all of them went him.
Did they really? Wow. Really?
There you go. And he was
another level, right?
Ball on a string.
Well, like watching him at training.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're seeing that every day.
Yeah, so I don't know if the right word is privileged, but man, I was like 20 metres, I was on the touchline. So they're training, and I'm in the middle of training. The balls are going past me. The kit men are there. I'm there with the physios, and so I'm watching these superstars train up close. So then you see why you reach a certain level, and though you're a good footballer, then you see, wow, this is a whole different beast.
Yeah.
This is a whole different tiger. This is a proper big lion.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And to get that many in one team.
And all different in their own ways. Like Carlos, like a Ninja Turtle. Yeah, but 80 box to boxes, up, down. Imagine him halfback.
Oh.
Yeah, rugby league. Oh. Free. And like little nugget.
Yeah,
like,
nugget.
Yeah, like Donatello, mate. You couldn't and Zidane different. You know,
Elegant.
6'3", like big guy. Looks slower than what he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the touch, like
Football smarts.
ballet, Baryshnikov, just bringing it down, and like people would ping him a ball, and even if it was a bad one, that's what David used to say to me. He goes, you can ping a ball that's maybe even slightly off to Zidane.
Looks a good ball.
He just puts his foot up, and it's like a magnet. Boom, it sticks. Yeah, so
That's crazy.
the amazing things that you see, amongst all those. It's a very special thing, and I had the privilege of working within the inner circles of it. I'd have chats with Valdano. He'd say to me, "Oh, David's right foot, like Diego's left." And
he'd know.
And I'd have those chats walking around the Bernal. And it's and then you come back here and you have all that kind of knowledge, and no one for 10, 12 years asks you anything.
Yeah, that's that's not right.
Well, it's kind of like, I don't feel like it's not like I wouldn't want to work for anything, but it's kind of like, guys, I have all this knowledge, from watching the under-10s and 11s at Real Madrid every single day, watching them train to the first team. Inside the dressing room, listening to Queiroz, to Del Bosque, to Valdano, to Butragueña, these legends, and I could impart some of this to our national youth teams, to some A-League, academies or something, and like you don't even get asked.
Yeah.
Like who's in charge? Who's running the system here that kind of denies that to? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good. That denies it.
We want to get better. We want to get better. I've sent emails to the old FFA. Would you like, because Alex Tobin, I think, asked me once, I need to do a study. I had him in at Barcelona, at Real Madrid, Barcelona. I never got a reply back.
Yeah,
you don't even reply.
Yeah.
And you wonder why you're going the way you're going.
Yeah.
You wonder why they're legendary and you guys are monkeys.
Yeah, that's a total difference. There's a massive difference.
Yeah. You know what?
So take us to the time you did then, because you did work with you were a scout for the Socceroos?
Yes, I was the chief scout for the 2006 World Cup.
Yeah.
2007 Asian Cup.
Yeah.
And that was, to be honest, it came more from Ron Smith, who was my coach at the AOS.
Okay.
And he was...
Legendary.
Yeah, he was the director of... I think it was director of football or technical director
Technical
or something
director.
at the time
Something
of
like
the Socceroos, something like that, yeah. And they got me in for a meeting, him and Arnie, and I didn't see Gus, but I saw Arnie and Ron, and they said, you're off to South America. Ronnie says you need to create a logistical, technical, tactical, geographical dossier of every nation that we may play against in the World Cup qualifier, and it ended up Uruguay. Yes.
Yeah.
So they said you're off for 9 months. So I'd go in and out for 9 months, and my base camp was Colombia. And unknown to them, I was still addicted to cocaine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And guess what? We qualified.
The dossier would have been written pretty quickly, let me tell you.
How good's that?
Yeah, so it was...
But that would have been hard, right? In Colombia.
Oh, mate, it was just some of the... Like some of the games, some of the stories, like you go to watch Venezuela, Colombia. I've got Ronnie Smith next to me. Like people shooting guns in the air, like in the crowd. Bang. Ronnie's going, "Hey, Birch, are they real guns, son?" Yeah, they're real guns.
Yeah,
Ronnie.
you'll be right, mate.
But it was Venezuela, Colombia. Like it's like a Miss World pageant. like with a football match thrown in the middle. Like all the Miss Worlds come from Venezuela.
Yeah.
So Ronnie and I are there like going, watching this game, and it's just like Miss Worlds everywhere. Yeah. And at half time, I said to Ron, I need to try and kind of, I thought to myself, I need to be a bit professional here. I've got Ronnie, who's my boss, and, do I say something with formation? I go, Ronnie, what do you think the Venezuelans are playing that 4-4? I didn't get past 4-4, whatever, and he goes, don't worry about formation, son. What about the cans?
The next day he was stationed in Colombia.
Yeah. He's coming to hang out with you every day.
So it gave me an opportunity to catch up with friends like Valderrama. And talk about, Carlos is a beautiful man, a hero in the greatest ever. One of the greatest ever, and he'd tell me stories of being with Pablo Escobar and
really,
and with Andres Escobar, and it's just just some unbelievable stories, that I have, that I'm privy to, that
not many people would be.
No, he was in tears telling me stories of those two.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
really,
and it's good. Real good friends for his. It's the two different ones. One was a footballer, the other one the cartel boss. Yeah. But in their own way, for Colombian football at certain times, they were good in a way. Escobar, the drug baron, was a lot of money was going through football as well.
Yeah, he was funding the league.
Yeah, he was funding the league. So, but it's that's for another book.
Yeah. Wow.
That's for
that side of it.
Yeah, that's I'm privy to some wonderful stories there, and Carlos is a great guy. Go to his place in Barranquilla, but going to the football in Colombia was nuts as well. The FFA give you tickets, to turn up to a World Cup qualifier, and you turn up in the seat, and there's two of Escobar's henchmen sat in two seats that you've got tickets for.
Oh, yeah, what are you going to say to him?
Yeah, excuse me, and they look at you. And my security guard, I had a security guard in Colombia. Security guard goes, Andy, aquí no. So I ended up like...
Started circling.
I'm down. 90 minutes, I'm trying to find a seat. I
haven't seen a match.
Wow.
Yeah, and
nuts,
nuts. It was just... madness. South America is a whole different beast. For me, it was. But you know what? I made the most of it. I was going through my own troubles. It was a bit of an escape.
Yeah.
From my own for my peace of mind, and I enjoyed it. Caribbean, Hyatt by the Caribbean.
Yeah, doing whatever you want to do.
How good.
Uncle Frank paying for everything. Happy days.
How good. And we qualified.
And we qualified.
That's a massive tick. All right, so, and you looked after Timmy Cahill as well.
Yeah, Timmy was... he was one of the boys I brought to the office that they were chasing as a company. They chased everybody, Dwight York, the whole lot. But Timmy at the time was a young kid that was starting to make noise, and... Tony said, we can't get this kid. Australian, his dad was English, and he knew some solicitors in the East End of London, and kind of like, I said to Tony, you're scared that if you take Timmy, they're going to come for you. I said, they probably will, but I'll get you Timmy. So, I took Timmy and Lucas in the next day, and Timmy, we did the deal for Everton, and just a wonderful human. Look what he's done, I think, for the nation. For me, he's the greatest soccerer of all time, and people will argue it. But if you look at the stats in that book and his goal-scoring record at international level for a player that wasn't a 9...
Yeah.
And was told he'd never make it too.
So his stats at international level were up with Ronaldo and Messi and Shearer and people like that. But you're talking about a kid who had air like Jordan.
Yeah. Could jump.
He had air like Jordan. He had timing. You could play him, drop him 6, and he could play like Keane. Just
tough as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and just a desire to put his head in anywhere.
Yeah.
But he had bicycle kicks. He had everything. Was he Ronaldo Nazario? Yeah. Was he Maradona? Was he Messi? No. But we as a nation, I don't think we appreciate how good he actually was. and important goals at times in a World Cup. In
the
Asian Cup
and the Netherlands goal,
the volley.
Yeah,
if he's wearing Adidas that game, it's the goal of the World Cup.
Yeah, absolutely.
Correct.
Exactly right. Yeah.
He goes to the MLS, fastest goal in MLS history. It's a piss take.
Yeah.
If you look at it, and it's a kid that, and he's still going. We're in touch now. He's chasing more dreams.
Doesn't stop, does he?
No, he does not stop, and he will. There's more to be conquered. He hasn't even started.
Yeah.
There was Timmy, and then Rogic. I found
Tommy
in Canberra.
Rogic.
Yeah, Tommy was
from Canberra.
Yeah, he was. In Canberra, and I went to watch him play, and Ron Smith said, "I got a kid here that kind of bit Zidane-ish and stuff, and I want to see him." And after about 10 minutes, his dad said, "What do you think?" And I said, "Rubbish." As he does, he's got a beautiful touch. I noticed a beautiful touch immediately. Like you noticed that straight away. Like the ball had come in that sublime. The
left foot.
The good players have a sublime touch. And he had that. Saw that straight away, but then he'd walk around with his hips, hands on his hips, and he was lazy, he didn't track back, and this was 16, 17. And I said, leave him with me for 6 months. It was at the time I was the strength conditioning coach for the Australian Olympic Games boxing team.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Jeff Horn was with us, and he was all part of that team. And Tommy came in and trained for 3 to 6 months. I'm not sure the timeline, but he came in. It was minimum 3 months. He didn't do any of the sparring, of course, but he trained with the Olympic Games boxing team that went off to London.
Okay.
Up at the AIS. Never missed a session, track work, strength, the whole lot. And my plan was to break him. I said to the dad, I want to break him, so he doesn't want to play football anymore. And if I don't, then... And he was a kid that, if Tommy's genetically had been born with a little bit better VO2 max and a little bit quicker, could play for Real Madrid. That's the difference.
Okay.
He had all. I've seen Zidane and I've seen Tom. Similar ilk, similar kind of flow and quality, but just one is one's a Holden V8, the other's a V6.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like people say to me, well, how do you kind of compare Grella and Valeri? Grella was a V8 supercar, and Valeri was the same kind of car, a Commodore, a Holden or a Ford around Bathurst, but it had a 6-cylinder instead of a V8. Yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah, and if you'd driven both, you'd know the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's
analogy.
kind of like that's the difference in how I look at different athletes, but Tom, again, my partner Daniel and I've done all these deals, up until now. The last one was the greatest deal for a foreigner in Celtic history, and for a kid from Canberra, 16, 17, to go and play at Celtic, and I've gone there and watched him play v Rangers, and people can knock the Scottish League, and a lot of people do. But I'd say to a lot of those people, you wouldn't be able to play in the Scottish League yourself.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Aberdeen away is not an easy game on a Tuesday night in the middle of winter.
Freezing cold.
Yeah. Rangers. It's a tough league. Yeah. So for a kid from Canberra that I was able to help and has won 12 trophies.
Good on him.
For me, and played Champions League and played this and that, I think fantastic.
Yeah, he's played some of the best stadiums, hasn't
and
he?
Valeri went to Inter Milan. He, again, probably physiologically not cut out for the top level of Serie A, but hey, he played 60, 70 games for the Socceroos. He played Serie B.
Yeah.
So what a wonderful career. He came back and played for Melbourne Victory. So that in itself is a wonderful career. And sometimes as we get older and you discuss the mental health of this and that, like... who am I to judge? Who are we to judge if Carl's career was better than his or lesser than his?
You can't.
Or, is 12 years at Melbourne Victory, for example, better than 3 years at Reading?
Yeah.
How do we compare? How do we
can't.
judge? And it's, what everybody does, what they do, and no one's soft and no one's hard. It's just, it is what it is, as you get older, I'm more comfortable with all that as well.
Yeah, of course.
When I was younger, it wasn't cool to speak out. That you were homesick or you were sad or you were this or you were that. But it's key in the game now. You know, it's important, and you know, that's where I'd like to kind of, you know, get more involved and help. You know, I've been through a lot.
Absolutely.
Good and bad. You know, and I don't think you can impart knowledge, and you can't, you know, help others if you. I feel you're better for it if you've seen the dark side too.
100%.
You know, you understand it.
Now, COVID obviously has hit the world, and you've got family over in New Zealand that you probably wouldn't have seen for a long time now, would it?
Yeah, it's I don't know the time. That's maybe 12 months, maybe a little bit longer. But yeah, it's tough. You know, I've got Dan, my son-in-law's a UFC fighter. You know, he's top 5, 6 in the world in the lightweight division, and he married Isabella, my daughter. Have a granddaughter called Zoe, and they're going great. You know, they're doing their stuff in Auckland. It's a beautiful country.
Yeah.
They've got it all nice down there, and you know, he's opened his own combat centre. And look, the fight game's a tough one as well. He lost his last one, but he'd won 4-5, and you know, the UFC game, one punch changes the whole. You know, it doesn't mean you're good or bad. You know, so he's a good guy. You know, and he's working hard, and he ain't going to stop till he gets close. You know, a shot at that title. And but for me, you know, I think it's really important as you get older to know that your daughter is with a beautiful man, a gentleman.
Yeah, okay.
Apart from the fighting, you know, that's a bonus. That's you know, that's the bonus on top of it. And it's kind of weird how my daughter then ends up marrying a sportsman as well, and stuff like that.
Yeah, and an elite sportsman too. Yeah,
it's kind of, I don't know if it's destiny or whatever, but it happened, and she kind of understands everything that goes with, you know, that sporting life.
The sacrifices and stuff like that.
But, you know, just, you know, at the wedding in Thailand and stuff, and, you know, I was with my dad and mum, and, you know, we were like, you're just happy when your daughter is with a nice man.
Yeah, and looks after her.
Yeah, it's a real beautiful, peaceful thing.
Yeah, good.
Oh, that's awesome.
And obviously COVID, it allowed you to write the book too.
Well, it was a great opportunity because, you know, it happened. You know, people were stuck indoors for a while, and everyone was kind of. So I really took time to write it down, and you know, it drove me mad a little bit because you got to relive, you know, good and bad, and you know, I've left 50,000 words out. I wanted it more concise, and just kind of, you know what, I'm going to give you 12, 13 chapters, and it's going to be hard hitting, whether that's good or bad. And, you know, we all kind of want to leave some sort of legacy of sort, and I needed some truths to come out to be corrected that aren't quite right.
Yep.
And, you know, but you wait around like a poker player sometimes, and you kind of just, you want to say something, well, that's not right, and that's not right. But what backup do you have? You know, and then certain things came into play, and I was able to, you know, I said to Janie, it's our time now. The cards, I've got the right cards. Bang, bang, bang. We're playing poker now in Vegas. And I wrote this, you know, and good and bad, because, you know, if the world reads it, it's a fascinating story. I mean, from a migrant story to believing you can play on the biggest stages of Europe, to a multitude of other things that, you know, you would only see in a James Bond movie. Seriously, and it kind of happened to me, and you know, it's just madness. It's the tie to Beckham. The book is about me. Certain bits are about David, and then it's added a bit of glamour to the whole thing. But you know, and I don't know whether that's written in the stars either. You know, in 1994, David Beckham signed for Predator. In 1984, I tested Predator for Adidas. You know, in Canberra, and I said to Craig Johnson, they work.
Yeah, okay.
So, you know, I don't know if it's in the stars.
Fate, the stars are aligning.
Yeah, so you know, it's a good book. It's a good story, and hopefully, you know, it's good reading for all, you know, kids, you know, that want to do anything, you know, but even more for kids that are into the sporting world. You know, the right things and the wrong things. You know, I don't have to state them. They're there. Read the book, and you'll realise if you do this, and that, there's a real good chance that you'll end up, you know, playing wherever you want. If you go down this path,
you're not going to get there.
Yeah.
And if you can go and get Riding Shotgun, right, we're going to the book launch tomorrow night, which is the 27th. This podcast will be out after the book launch, but what a wonderful story, Seva.
I can't wait to read it. I won't be sleeping for a few nights.
It's a 2-part series that we're going to release because we couldn't get it done in one.
Yep.
And look what we've got out. So, Birch, thank you.
Man, it's been a great pleasure.
We hope you've enjoyed it, mate.
Yeah, it's been easy. It's never daunting, going places. But I feel comfortable with Seva. He's told me about you, and I just, for me, it was a real kind of. I wanted to come and be part of the show. I wanted to help you guys, turn it into a monster. You're going great, and you've made me feel really, warm and comfortable, and I've just been here chilling, chatting.
Perfect. We'll hang there.
We're loving it.
Hang there, and we'll finish off with one of the best finishes you've ever seen. So, this podcast can't happen without our wonderful sponsors. So, mate, one of our wonderful sponsors. Visit letsbemates.com.au for all your NBN and mobile needs. Ignify Legal, again, go and see Ian and the team. They'll look after you. Jeff Lambert, again. Seva, how good is he for us, eh?
He makes you look great every week.
He makes me look good. Visit jefflambert.com.au, and again, if you need a podcast like we did, Jeff helps us out.
He's
right? It's so easy to deal with. The planning station, mate, for any of your events, anything you need. DS Tipping and Excavations.
Yeah, he's all right.
He's all right. Best lay in Penrith or best lay in it. And MG Activ still keeping Seva in shape, so get down there and go for a run. Andy Bernal, thank you so much.
Thank you very much
for the last 2 hours we've had, mate.
Thank you, and just a little message to MG. Thank you for the
MG,
for the words.
This is your book,
for the words,
pal.
You got a book. Little message in there for you, and I'll be wearing those hats in Canberra, mate. Stirring the Raiders up for you.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we hope you enjoyed that at home because it's been one of the best chats we've had. So, Andy Bernal, thank you, pal.
Thanks for listening, guys. Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Seva.
Cheers, mate.